evening. You're watching The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. Union Home Minister Amit Shah made a big declaration in an interview to a media house in Jammu and Kashmir. He said the centre is considering revocation of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act from Jammu and Kashmir. AFSPA, remember, was a law implemented in the 1990s, legislation that gives legal cover to the armed forces operating in what are known as disturbed areas from prosecution. This was at a time when terrorism was at its peak in the valley. The entire law and order machinery had collapsed. Over 3 decades later now, has the time come for it to be removed completely from Jammu and Kashmir? Well, the call to repeal the law has come loud and clear from various quarters over the last 3 decades, including many judicial commissions. Is it merely about political will though? The jury is still out on that, but many would agree that the time is ripe for this decision to be made. Does that mean normalcy has returned to Jammu and Kashmir? Can those politicians who question the Modi government's claims on a Naya Kashmir ignore the facts? Because many say the facts are there for everyone to see. We see the kind of boom that tourism has seen in Jammu and Kashmir. The economy is doing extremely well. There are no hartals anymore. Stone pelting is almost nil. Can those be ignored? But does that mean all is well? Certainly not. There is much left to be desired. But will the repeal of AFSPA be the first remedial step in bringing Jammu and Kashmir on par with any other state in the country? Well, Home Minister Amit Shah said that the government plans to withdraw troops from J&K soon, though he did not fix a timeline for it. But what gives the centre this confidence to bite that bullet if they will? Amit Shah said that without the support of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, comprehensive changes could not take place. He appealed to the youth of Kashmir, especially the youths, to not fall prey to the conspiracies of Pakistan and its stooges. But here's why the government is confident, and here's why Union Home Minister made that declaration. He says there is no trust deficit in Jammu and Kashmir cops anymore. There was a time when Jammu and Kashmir Police could not be trusted. There was a trust deficit, but now they're leading operations, which is why troops will soon be leaving Jammu and Kashmir, said the Union Home Minister. He said we now trust the Jammu and Kashmir Police with internal security, which is why AFSPA could be removed as well. Terror being wiped out, the stone pelting has now reduced, is what he pointed to. Remember, this is something that the centre has also put on record in Parliament. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also then went on to say that restoring full democracy in Jammu and Kashmir is an assurance that the Modi government has made to the people of the Union Territory, and they very well will deliver on it. Well, the critics and the political rivals of the BJP don't agree. Now, abrogation of Article 370 was the first step towards Jammu and Kashmir's real integration, says the central government. So what has changed in Jammu and Kashmir in the last 5 years? Remember, the abrogation happened in 2019. Here's what the government has gone on record, especially as they tabled these details in the Parliament. 2,654 stone pelting incidents were reported in 2010. In 2023, there were 0 that were reported. At least 132 organized strikes or hartals were organized back in 2010. 0 strikes in 2023, 13 years later. The centre has also cited the decline in terror-related incidents. There has been a 70% decline is what the central government states. The Home Ministry, which put out these facts, also then went on to say there has been at least an 81% reduction in civilian deaths in Jammu and Kashmir. 48% decline in death of security forces has been witnessed since 2019 to now, since the abrogation of Article 370. Is that the first step? Are we now closer to AFSPA being removed as well, like the Union Home Minister says? Now, while the calls for revocation have been around for several years, but the decision is not an easy one. Those in favour of the decision say that the time is here. Normalcy is returning to Jammu and Kashmir, even by the admission of the centre. The figures on hartals and stone pelting that I just put out, that is a sign that J&K is ready for more. But those against the revocation or the repeal of the AFSPA say that this is too early for such a critical call to be made, given the Union Territory's critical location. Those in favour point out that terror crackdown is on in full swing. Pakistan's desperate tactics are receding, is what they say. The fact that stone pelting has reduced to almost nil calls for a relook of the law. But is Pakistan-backed terror a thing of the past? No. Cross-border infiltration attempts are still being made, especially as far as trafficking of drugs is concerned from across the border. The removal of AFSPA after 34 years was also sensitize the forces, is the argument that's being made. The forces have often been accused of crossing the line under the protection of this particular law. That perception could change, it should change, is also what many experts believe. On the other hand, we also have those that say that we're battling a threat from China as well. It's not just our western frontiers. China is needling us on the eastern front. It's also looking to arm Pakistan against India. Now, even though a complete revocation is an age-old demand, it can't be done in a knee-jerk manner is what experts caution. A phase-wise removal is required to gauge the situation. That is something that the arguments across the board are about. Now, Jammu and Kashmir appears to be standing on the cusp of a paradigm shift. That's what many believe. But for things to change, for things to become irreversible, challenges must also be mitigated. They must be paid attention to so that normalcy that we speak of is substantive. It's not just superficial. There are many challenges and all of them are being tackled at every single level. Especially as far as trafficking of drugs and arms is concerned from across the border. We've seen the kind of drone sightings that have happened over the last several months. The type of activity that has happened along the border of Punjab as well. Incomplete shutdown of terror finance rings is something that we still have to look into. The crackdown continues there, but terror financing has been deep-rooted for several decades. That is something that needs to be tackled as well. Radicalization and entrenchment in admin ranks, that is something that needs to be looked at as well. That is what we're now looking at a challenge. Tracking and punishing hybrid terrorists. These are terrorists that will carry out a certain attack and then just mix into the general populace. That is why they're so hard to track. That is a big challenge. Electoral democracy at the assembly level is also something that is required. That is a criticism that political rivals of the BJP have often made, that all the tall claims of normalcy that the government makes fall flat because they will not hold elections. That is the argument that both the NC and the PDP have also been making. So is this really the time to repeal AFSPA? And now that the Union Home Minister has said so, are we looking at a timeline? Are they finally going to bite that bullet? We open that up tonight.
मेरे साथ दोनों हाथ उठाइए।
जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस के हवाले ही जम्मू कश्मीर का कानून और व्यवस्था की स्थिति होगी और धीरे धीरे ट्रूप बैरक में जाएंगे। ये हमारा एक डिजाइन बना हुआ नॉर्मल स्थिति हो ही रही है और बहुत स्पीडीली इस पर विचार किया जाएगा। नजदीक के भविष्य में विचार किया जाएगा।
इलेक्शन को देखते हुए जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ अब अफस्पा के मामले में भी एक झूठा वादा और धोखा देने का जो है सिलसिला किया जा रहा है।
370 हटने के बाद हालात में काफ़ी तब्दीली आई है। आज हालात बहुत बेहतरी की तरफ जा रहे हैं और कहीं भी स्टोन पेल्टिंग नहीं हो रही है, कहीं टेररिस्ट मूवमेंट कम हुई है बहुत से इलाकों में।
Joining me on this broadcast, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Sanju Verma, Advocate Niloufar Masood, leader of the National Conference, Spokesperson of the PDP, Mohit Bhan joins us, and former bureaucrat Farooq Renzu Shah also with me. Let me begin by asking Sanju Verma. We have the Union Home Minister saying that we're considering, we're mulling removal of AFSPA. Is that the bullet that we are going to be seeing the centre bite anytime soon?
You know, first and foremost, Poonam, thank you for putting out that comprehensive primer with respect to data on how we stand and where we stand with respect to Jammu and Kashmir. The limited answer to your very pertinent query is yes, going forward, there is every intent on the part of the Modi government to ensure that AFSPA is a thing of the past. But whether it will happen by way of a blanket removal of AFSPA or whether it will happen in phases, that remains to be seen, because if I have to go as per what happened in the northeast, don't forget that, Manipur was declared a disturbed area for the longest time in 1980 for the first time, Tripura for the first time in 1997, Assam for the first time in 1990, Nagaland for the first time in 1995. And I am told, Poonam, as you and me speak, that, in large parts of northeast, the AFSPA has actually been removed. For instance, in Assam, out of 33 districts, AFSPA is now applicable in less than 20 districts. Similarly, out of 15 districts in Nagaland, it is applicable only in 8 districts. Similarly, in 26 districts of Arunachal Pradesh, it was earlier applicable in a blanket manner, but that is now limited to only 8 or 9 districts. So I think what the Modi government has done in the Northeast has proven to be successful. Do away with AFSPA, but rather than blanketly removing it, do it in phases so that the security aspect, is not compromised. And at the same time, the suo motu powers that the armed forces and the paramilitary forces have by way of the AFSPA Act dating back to 1958, those powers are also curtailed. So I think there will be some kind of a give and take to ensure that all the stakeholders in Jammu and Kashmir, they're happy at the end of the day, because that is exactly what we intended to do with abrogation of Article 370, and that is precisely what we've done. In fact, don't forget that last December, in December 2023, the J&K reorganization bill was passed with a thumping majority in the Lok Sabha, and for everybody who says, "Arey, election kab honge Jammu Kashmir mein?" So please, understand that the Supreme Court categorically told the Modi government that by the 30th of September 2024, elections in Jammu and Kashmir need to be held, and we are going to comply with the Supreme Court diktat on that count.
Sure, there's still time for September, so why raise the bogey of no elections? Niloufar Masood, why does the NC, why does Omar Abdullah say this is linked to the 2024 general elections? There's a sense of whipping up sentiment, and that's all that the BJP is trying to do. Nothing is going to come out of this, is what Omar Abdullah said. Why is that? Why do you not take the BJP's intent, as Sanju Verma put, on the face value?
Well, Poonam, I'll say here that I hope that this is not the political gimmick, as they had already done in the Ladakh also. They had promised it that they will be given the 6th schedule, but unfortunately after elections that was refused, and till date they are the people of the Ladakh, they are on the streets fighting for the 6th schedule. Now when we talk about the removal of the AFSPA, if you remember in the year 2011, when Omar Abdullah was CM of Jammu and Kashmir, he had sought, in fact, put the proposal that there should be phased-wise revocation of this AFSPA. But unfortunately, that faced very stiff resistance from the army, because they never wanted that it should be revoked at that point of time. But even if it is done today, with a true heart, we believe that anything which is in the welfare of the people, we are with the people, and we want everything which will be done by the government of India for the welfare of people. Jammu Kashmir National Conference will be very happy for that thing. And another thing which I want to say, that we cannot say that whatever has been said by the Amit Shah on 5th August 2019 on the floor of the parliament, that has never been done. And we doubt the credibilities on this ground, because of the reason, if things are very fine, why didn't they hold the elections simultaneously with the parliamentary elections? On one way they are saying that there is normalcy, we want phase-wise revocation of the this AFSPA, and on the other side, when the elections are to be taken place in the Jammu and Kashmir, they are overdue. The elections are never been, they are saying that we'll wait for the September. So these two stands cannot.
But ma'am, that's a deadline that the Supreme Court of this country has said. The election commission,
that could have been done together.
The election commission has also, the election commission which conducts these elections has also come out and said that this is something that they're looking into. They do have a timeline in mind. The election commission's team was in Jammu and Kashmir trying to assess what the security situation was like ahead of the Lok Sabha elections as well.
Let me remind you, Poonam, when these two elections, when the last statement was made, it was said that these two elections cannot be held simultaneously because of the security reasons. And now when the government of India is coming with a stand that everything is fine here, we are going for the revocation of the AFSPA, then where does that stand go? That's my point.
Can I quickly answer that?
Yes, Sanju Verma, 30 seconds for your rebuttal before I get in the other two gentlemen.
Thank you. Let's be very clear. If you look at the chronology of events post the abrogation in 2019, the Delimitation Commission headed by former Judge Ranjana Desai, they had, more than 36 sittings. And finally, the report was made public only in May 2022, whereby the number of seats in Kashmir division was raised by 1, and the number of seats in Jammu division were raised by 6. Taking the total tally to 90, and then the president, was given powers that he or she can recommend 2 more seats, one for a person who's been displaced, from POK, and another should be preferably a Kashmiri migrant, a woman, and then 9 more seats were added by way of scheduled tribes, who will now have the right to even stand for elections, not just vote. So the limited point I'm making is that between the Delimitation Commission's recommendations in May 2022 And December 2023, a whole lot has happened by way of adding number of seats to the Jammu division,
Sure.
the Kashmir division, ensuring that scheduled tribes get their right to franchise, ensuring that a person from POK
So the point you're trying
is
to
also
make is
given
that electoral
representation.
democracy is not in a limbo as the opposition tries to make it look or make it sound. There have been steps that have been taken, and gradually we'll see elections happen there as well. Farooq Shah, do you agree with the claims that the government has been making? There is data to prove on record. The government says that yes, terror has gone down, stone pelting has reduced. There are absolutely no more hartals anymore. We've seen the kind of tourism boost that Jammu and Kashmir has seen. It has been the highest ever in independent India the last year.
Yeah, this is very obvious. You can see if you come today also, there are around 60, 70 flights per day. You don't get tickets. When tickets have gone, it was 20,000 beyond, such as the rush to arrival and departure from Kashmir. So that is the indication that there is a positive change. Number second, as far as AFSPA is concerned, who were the beneficiaries of AFSPA? I think AFSPA was being used to make a demon out of the army of India by the local parties. They were cashing it like 96 out of 3 lakh constituency per constituency. Only 100 votes were casted and one became the MLA because they were getting benefit of depriving the people to vote. It has happened. They were trying in 1987 way, which was against the local parties who really maneuvered in exodus of funding also and criminalized it and surcharged and never thought that before holding any election, let all Kashmiri parties be brought back. So there should be, I think, not only SAPA is a very good decision, and the benefit will be directly taken by the central government parties this time because of the development approach also. And there is some way when in 90s, when Mr. Modi came to Lal Chowk, there were not even 3 Kashmiris to receive him because of the fear. And today, you have seen more than 50,000 people attended his rally. It means there is a way where people are not against India. They were never from 1947 against them. Even they want that Gilgit-Baltistan and POK should be brought back because we are the total territory of 222,000 square kilometers. But these political parties have a vested interest. Like you remember once Babu said that why should not army shower the bullets? Are they going these children to get milk and toffees from them? So because they are pretty jealous, if army and people of Kashmir become friends as they were before 89, they have a vested interest to have the army presented as the villain of Kashmiri people. So
that's a narrative that was being set by several parties in Jammu and Kashmir is what many believe. That's also something that the BJP believes. But Mohit Bhan, why do the PDP and the NC have questions over the intent of the BJP or of the central government? You were in power with the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir. This removal of AFSPA was something that was a part of your common minimum program with the BJP back then.
Thank you, Poonam, finally that you got time to ask me this question. Absolutely, we are not against it. Finally, some sort of senses prevailed in the Home Minister and the central government that they are discussing and they are evaluating to, take off AFSPA from Jammu and Kashmir. This has been a written agreement in the alliance, in the agenda of alliance between the PDP-BJP government, which lasted for almost 3 years in Jammu and Kashmir. And if at all there is an intent to really take off AFSPA from Jammu and Kashmir, PDP is absolutely welcoming this decision and we are not against this. But where the apprehensions come from, let me come to that. Why are we apprehensive about the claims which are being made by the central government and then we question them, is because they have been in the repetitive mode of giving us these jumlas of 5 lakh jobs and 15 lakh rupees and the 5 trillion economy and zero terrorism in Kashmir, return of Kashmiri Pandits, the jobs in Jammu and Kashmir, wherein everything is happening in reversal to all the promises they are making. The Kashmiri Pandits still are, or the Kashmiri Hindus, the targeted killings are still continuing in Jammu and Kashmir. Haphazardly, there is no end to it. Every job scam from 2000, every job, the interview which has come for the students or the unemployed youth of Jammu and Kashmir, it has been marred with a scam since 2019. The terrorism, you are saying, you are quoting numbers and saying that this is down, that is down. There is no doubt that law and order is in control, but law and order does not equate to peace. There is no peace. The law and order is in control. I completely agree with you. Yes, the law and order is in control, but it is not peace. Peace would be when you don't find the army men guarding the roads and streets of Kashmir every 10 feet or every 15 feet. So because there is no peace, there is so much of army here. Because there is no peace, there is so much of army on every 15 feet on the roads. Because there is no peace, all the convoys, all the passenger vehicles on the highway are stopped for every after every 10 kilometers, every 12 kilometers on the highway. Because there is no peace, there are no assembly elections.
And many within the armed forces, time and again, Mohit Bhan have said...
Just a second. See, you were talking, I didn't interrupt you. Sorry, you have to give me time to speak.
Go ahead, you made your point.
It is no monologue, Poonam.
It is not a monologue, I agree.
I have not made my point, I am speaking. It is no monologue,
go ahead.
You must be the anchor in the channel, but it is no monologue happening here. You have to allow me the time to speak.
I have allowed you your time, sir. Please finish. Yes, 30 seconds more, sir. Go ahead.
If you get a spokesperson of PDP on board, then you have to start learning.
Absolutely, sir. I didn't interrupt you for the first 2 minutes that you were speaking.
We are not coming on channels just to listen to your monologue. We are coming to your channels to speak what is happening on ground.
And you spoke your mind, sir.
How the people of Kashmir are suffering, how the people of Jammu are suffering, how the people of Rajouri are suffering. Have you ever checked the mood of the people of Rajouri and Punch? Have you ever checked the mood of the people of Kashmir? Somebody was some ex-bureaucrat was quoting the Prime Minister's rally on your channel. 8,000 employees from across the state of Jammu and Kashmir were brought like donkeys in transport.
Sure, you made those allegations.
Do you claim
Mohit Bhan, you made those allegations in the past as well.
Do you claim that is the popularity of a rally where you have to drag employees at 4 a.m. in the morning?
You've made those allegations in the past as well, sir. When the rally of the Prime Minister happened at the beginning of this month.
AFSPA is a matter which is involving every
Yes, I agree. It's an important matter. Politics must not happen
on it.
I agree.
So please don't make a mockery of it by quoting these unpleasant numbers which don't substantiate on the ground.
They can't be unpleasant just because they're unpleasant to you, sir.
My simple request to you is that in case the government is serious about it, we are wholeheartedly welcoming it. We are more than happy to extend whatever support the government requires.
Sanju Verma, both the NC and the PDP. I get your point, sir.
It is a draconian law.
I get your point, sir, that you welcome the removal of AFSPA. Sanju Verma, the intent is what is under question, but the fact that the BJP wants to remove it is something that all political parties in Jammu and Kashmir are on board with. This is something that the PDP was pushing for, is what they say when you were in government back 10 years ago as well.
Poonam, now I did not heckle anyone. I need to make a couple of very quick points.
Yes, go ahead.
I've already spoken on AFSPA, but since the PDP panelists made some allegations, it's my turn to give him a rebuttal with facts. When you sit here and say that this was a jumla, that was a jumla, it took 30 years for the Indian tricolor to be hoisted at the Lal Chowk in Srinagar. And I'm so
absolutely wrong, Sanju, absolutely wrong. Indian tricolor was hosted every 15th August, every 26th January in Kashmir. The sitting chief ministers have taken salute of that. You are misleading the nation on that.
Mohit Bhan, you had your time. Mohit Bhan, you had your time. You made some. Mohit Bhan, you made some allegations. Let her respond. Let Sanju Verma respond, Mohit Bhan. We cannot have a debate like this. You made your point. Let her respond. I'll come back to you. I'll give you your time. Do not worry.
Either you have to correct Sanju Verma or you are part of this propaganda. You are part
I
of this.
am sorry, sir. You cannot accuse me of being part of any propaganda. You've made some claims. She's countering you, and you can continue countering her. I'm not stopping you from doing that, am I? Let her have her say, and I will come back to you, Mohit Bhan.
Thank you. Poonam, can I please?
Yes, Sanju Verma, go ahead. Mohit Bhan, I'm giving her a minute. You can get your minute after that and rebut what she has to say, but let her finish her point. Sanju Verma, go ahead.
No, he spoke for 4 minutes. I need my 2 minutes.
Yes,
Please
go
don't
ahead,
interfere with me.
go ahead, Sanju Verma. I have
I'm
limited
speaking.
time on this debate. Go ahead, make your
Yes.
point.
Thank you, Poonam. Don't rush me. I know I have limited time. First and foremost, I repeat, the last time the tricolor was hoisted, it was done by the likes of a very brave Murli Manohar Joshi. It was done by the likes of an Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And then after 30 years hence, it has been done under the aegis of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Chenali Lashri Tunnel, the work on that started in 2011. It was completed in 2017 by the Modi government. The entire size of Jammu and Kashmir's economy was less than 1 lakh crore. Today, the size of Jammu and Kashmir's economy is close to 2 lakh crore. The 7th Pay Commission recommendations were not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, they are applicable. The Dowry Prohibition Act was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. The Indian Penal Code was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. The Indian Contract Act of 1872 was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. More than 30,000 Kashmiri Pandits have been rehabilitated. Stone pelting incidents are down by 93.7%.
They have already started. These projects have started doing the
Nilufar Masood, I will give you your time as well. Let's keep this civil, please. Sanju Verma, finish your point. Yes, go ahead.
Prime Minister Modi announced a 80,000 crore development package in 2015, and more than 94% of that package has not only been allocated but has been disbursed as well. In 2021, Prime Minister Modi announced a 28,000 crore GST-linked package, and that is going to be applied over the next 8 to 10 years. You have direct flights now between Srinagar and the UAE. और सबसे ज़्यादा खुशी की बात तो ये है, there are no second-class citizens. There are no permanent citizens and temporary citizens. Anybody can buy property in Jammu and Kashmir, and if a Kashmiri woman marries somebody who's not a Kashmiri, she will not lose inheritance rights. Her children will not lose inheritance rights. That is called equality in the truest sense. आप लोगों ने तो permanent citizens, permanent residents, temporary residents करके discrimination को नई हद तक ले गए थे आप.
Sure, let's bring this. Sure, you've made your point, Sanju Verma. I need to get in Mohit Bhan and Nilufar Masood as well. But I want to bring this discussion back, Mohit Bhan, to the removal of AFSPA. Was there no political will? That's also a question many ask. The PDP has been in power in the past in Jammu and Kashmir.
So Poonam, will you give me time?
I will come to you, Nilufar Masood.
रिफ्यूजी लेकर आएंगे. आप इस देश को धोखा दे रहे हैं, हम इस देश को धोखा नहीं दे रहे हैं. आप इस देश की आंखों के अंदर धूल झोंक रहे हैं.
Sanju Verma, you had your time. Let him finish, please. I asked you one question, Mohit Bhan, about political will. Did the PDP lack it?
आपके जुमले जो हैं वो दुनिया के सामने रोज नंगे हो रहे हैं. आपके दुनिया के सामने जो जुमले हैं वो सामने वो बेपर्दा हो रहे हैं. आप उसका ध्यान कीजिए. आप सीए की बात करते हैं, आप अपने घर के रिफ्यूजीज को तो पहले सेटल कर लीजिए. उनके जुमले कब पूरे करेंगे? उनके बच्चे आज 33 साल हो गए, उनके आज 33 साल हो गए उनको घर से बेघर रह रहे. संजीव वर्मा, आप अपने घर में एसी में लगाकर बैठी हुई है. आपको क्या पता है झपकी के अंदर एक रूम के अंदर रहना किसको कहते हैं? आपको क्या पता है 50 डिग्री के अंदर रहना किसको कहते हैं? आपको क्या पता है शाम बिच्छुओं के बीच में रहना किसको कहते हैं? आप घर में एसी के कमरे में बैठकर भाषण दे रही हैं. आप उन रिफ्यूजीज से जाकर मिलिए. आप चलिए मेरे साथ, मैं आपको दावत देता हूँ. आप चलिए मेरे साथ, मैं दावत देता हूँ आपको. मैं दावत देता हूँ आपको.
Okay, Sanju Verma and Mohit Bhan. We seem to have digressed. We're speaking of the removal of AFSPA. Is the time right for it? And was there political will so far? Now, Nilufar Masood, you had a point to make, but I want to ask you the same question that I asked the PDP as well, that I asked Mohit Bhan. The NC has been in power in the state. The NC's ally has been in power at the centre. You've been alliance partners. Omar Abdullah has been a minister at the centre. Was there no political will then? If you question the intent of the central government now on removal of AFSPA, why was it not done all along?
I have already said that in the year 2011, it was Mr. Omar Abdullah Sahab, when he was the chief minister at that time. He had in fact sent the proposal to the concerned army also. They were asked to see the workable and the feasible things so that it could be removed. AFSPA could be removed in a phased manner. But that faced very stiff resistance from the army at that time. And I have already said that if we are contributing, if we are counting the contribution of the parties, as has been said by the Sanju Verma here, she is very expert in juggling the numbers. You could see from path to roads, from schools to universities, from laws, from land laws to big landed abolition act, and so many things which have been done by the Jammu Kashmir National Conference. You cannot say that it is one party that after abrogation everything is being done
Sure.
by them, as if nothing has happened. It was
Sure,
up to
but
the
as
year
far as removal of
1988,
AFSPA is concerned, like you said, that you had the political
1990,
will to do it, but the armed
We
forces,
always
the
had a
army
will.
was not in favor of
always
it.
had a will.
So if that
We
is a
always
situation
wanted
that arises
but
even
that
now,
was
then
never
why
done.
raise
That was
questions
never
only on
allowed
the
by the
BJP's
government of
intent?
India.
This is not a decision that has to be taken only politically, isn't it?
Yeah,
all
that is true.
stakeholders have to be taken on board, including the military, including the armed forces.
See, it ought to have been done, but once we are seeing that normalcy is there, then why not to go with the abrogation of the AFSPA?
So I'm glad you agree that normalcy is there. Normalcy is there. Elections will be held before the September deadline is what the Election Commission has also come out and confirmed. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. Unfortunately, I have to wrap this up at this moment. Normalcy has returned. AFSPA should go is what all political parties in Jammu and Kashmir believe. Whether the BJP will bite that bullet anytime soon, we'll have to wait and watch on that. But shifting focus now to the other big story.